Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you today from the heart, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of realness. A place most people avoid because it's uncomfortable, but the truth will set you free, even if it hurts a little first. Some men hurt women not because they're bad people, but because they're broken in places nobody ever took the time to look into. It's easy to call a man a monster, to throw labels around like toxic or narcissist and walk away. But sometimes beneath all that damage, there's just a scared little boy who never healed from what broke him. He might look strong on the outside like he's got it all together, but inside he's still carrying things he never talked about. A man who never saw love growing up may not know how to give it. A man who was raised to man up every time he cried may not know how to feel. A man who was taught that being vulnerable made him weak will spend his life running from emotions he doesn't understand. And when that kind of man meets a woman who loves hard, who gives her all, who tries to reach that place inside of him that he never lets anyone touch, it scares him. It confuses him. So what does he do? He pushes her away. He lashes out. He hurts her. Not because she did something wrong, but because she got too close to something he's been trying to hide. You see, broken men aren't born, they're created. Created by silence, by pain, by trauma, by environments where they were never allowed to be fully human. And the scary part is, most of them don't even realize they're broken. They just move from woman to woman, relationship to relationship, leaving behind a trail of damaged hearts and wondering why nothing ever feels real or lasting. They don't realize that love requires something they never learned to give: emotional safety, honesty, and vulnerability. Now, this doesn't mean they're innocent. It doesn't mean women should accept less or lower their standards, but it does mean we need to understand the root of the problem. A broken man who refuses to heal will continue to hurt others. He will project his pain, deflect his accountability, and call it survival. But deep down is fear. Fear of being seen, fear of being abandoned again, fear that if he ever lets someone in, they might not like what they find. That's why healing is so important, because hurt people, but healed people help people. A man has to look at his reflection, not just in the mirror, but in the eyes of the women he's hurt, and be man enough to say, I need to change. Until he does that, he'll keep bleeding on people who didn't cut him. So no, not all men who hurt women are evil. Some are just deeply broken, and sadly, some don't even know. From the time a boy is old enough to walk and talk, he starts receiving messages, loud ones, quiet ones, spoken and unspoken, telling him who he's allowed to be. And most of the time, the message is simple. Don't cry. Don't feel too much. Don't talk about what's going on inside. Society doesn't raise boys to be emotionally aware. It raises them to be emotionally silent. You fall off your bike? Get up. Stop crying. Someone breaks your heart? Shake it off. Go find someone new. You're sad? Toughen up. That's what a lot of men are told over and over again. Until one day, they stop feeling altogether. Or worse, they feel everything but don't know how to handle any of it. When a boy learns that expressing emotion is a weakness, he doesn't just bottle things out. He disconnects from his own heart. And when you're disconnected from your own heart, How can you connect with someone else's? That's where so many problems in relationships come from. A woman wants communication, depth, vulnerability, but he's never been taught how to access that part of himself. He's been told to lead with logic, not emotion, to fix problems, not feel them, to win, not to connect. So when she comes to him with her heart wide open, expressing pain, needing empathy, he either shuts down or gets defensive, not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know how to respond in a healthy way. This emotional suppression becomes a cycle. One generation of men passes it on to the next. Fathers who never showed emotion raise sons who do the same. Coaches, teachers, media, they all reinforce the idea that masculinity is about toughness, control, and silence. So a man learns to wear a mask. He laughs when he wants to cry. He jokes when he feels broken. And when something finally hurts too much to ignore, it usually comes out as anger. Not sadness, not honesty, anger. And that's the danger. Because when a man can't process his emotions, he ends up either turning him inward and becoming depressed, or outward and hurting others, especially the women who try to love him. It's not because he wants to be cruel. It's because he's emotionally underdeveloped. He was never given the tools. So now when he's in a relationship, he might love deeply, but he doesn't know how to show it. He might care, but he doesn't know how to express it in a way that feels safe or honest. We have to stop teaching boys that emotions are a liability. We have to stop treating vulnerability like it's something to be ashamed of. Because until we do, we'll keep raising men who are emotionally numb and women who are emotionally exhausted from trying to reach them. A lot of men move through relationships like they're walking through a house with the lights off. They don't always see what they're knocking over, who they're bumping into, or what kind of damage they're leaving behind. Until someone turns the lights on and shows them. And sadly, that light usually comes on too late. It comes after the woman has already left, after the messages have stopped, after the love has run dry. That's when it hits them. That's when they sit in the quiet, staring at old pictures, reading old texts, wondering how they let something so real slip away. But by then, it's already broken. And in that moment, they realize the emotional cost of what they did or didn't do. The truth is, a lot of men hurt women not out of intention, but out of ignorance. They don't know the impact of their silence. They don't understand they're not listening, not showing up, not saying I love you when it mattered. Those things leave wounds, deep ones. But when you spent your life being told to avoid emotions or bury them, you become numb to other people's feelings too. So while a woman is overthinking every word he said, crying into her pillow at night, he's sleeping just fine because it hasn't registered yet. It hasn't hit his heart until it's over. And when it's over, when she's finally had enough and walks away, something shifts. That's when men start reflecting. That's when they start playing the what if game. What if I had just listened more? What if I had taken her seriously when she says she's tired of fighting alone? What if I hadn't taken her love for granted? That's the moment many men realize that love was never promised and that a good woman won't stick around forever waiting for them to grow up. The emotional cost isn't just about losing her. It's about what she took with her when she left. The warmth, They ruined a safe place. But that realization often comes with guilt, regret, and pain. But sometimes that's what it takes to understand the real price of emotional neglect. There's a big difference between love and attention, and not everyone knows that. A woman, when she truly loves, she loves with her whole soul. She shows up in ways that aren't always loud, but are always consistent. She remembers the little things. She checks in when no one else does. She gives even when she's tired. And she listens even when no one listens to her. Her love isn't performative. It's deep. It's steady. And it's sincere. But too often, she gives that love to a man who doesn't really understand it because he's never seen love like that before. He's only seen attention. He's only known temporary interest dressed up as care. So when she comes into his life and offers something real, he confuses it with something superficial. Attention is easy. Anybody can give you attention. They can text you every morning, like your pictures, flirt with you, even spend time with you. But that doesn't mean they love you. That doesn't mean they're invested in your growth, your peace, or your healing. But a lot of men never learn to tell the difference. They chase attention because it feeds the ego. It feels good in the moment. But love, real love, holds a mirror up to you. It requires effort. It demands vulnerability. It asks for accountability. And that's where some men start to pull back, not because they don't like the woman, but because they don't know how to handle what she represents. You see, when a woman loves deeply, she's not just showing affection. She's offering a connection, one that goes beyond the surface, beyond attraction, beyond convenience. She wants to build. She wants to grow. She wants to pour into a man who can hold her heart with care. But when a man is only used to receiving attention, he doesn't know how to receive something that deep. He may think she's being too much or too emotional, when really she's just loving him the way a real woman does, with passion, loyalty, and heart. And that's where heartbreak begins, because she keeps giving more, thinking eventually he'll see it for what it is. But he's not tuned into that frequency. He's mistaking her loyalty for obligation, her patience for passiveness, her presence for something guaranteed. Meanwhile, he's still chasing the next distraction, the next compliment, the next boost to his ego, because that's what he thinks love is. That's what he's been conditioned to believe matters. By the time he realizes that what she gave him was rare, it's usually gone. That kind of love doesn't come around often, and it doesn't beg to be understood forever. A woman who loves deeply will fight for you, but not forever. She will give chances, but not endlessly. And when she finally walks away, he'll feel the difference. He'll miss the love that challenged him to grow, not just the attention that made him feel good. And in that moment, he'll understand that love isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, real, and priceless. Love alone has never been enough to change a man. A man can love a woman deeply and still disappoint her. He can say, I love you, and still lie to her, neglect her, ignore her needs, or take her for granted. That's the part people don't talk about enough. Because love is a feeling. It comes and goes. It gets cloudy. It gets confused. But respect is a choice. And when a man truly respects a woman, that's when you see change. That's when he starts to move different. Not because she begged him to, not because she threatened to leave, but because he doesn't want to be the reason she ever feels less than she deserves. A man might love a woman, but if he doesn't respect her, he'll still cross boundaries. He'll still make promises he doesn't keep. He'll still dismiss her feelings when they're inconvenient for him. Love without respect is selfish. It becomes about what she can do for him, how she makes him feel, how she feels the emptiness inside him. But when respect enters the picture, everything shifts. He begins to hold himself accountable. He begins to ask, how do my actions make her feel? What does she need for me to feel safe, to feel seen? Respect makes him want to protect her heart, not just possess it. You can see the difference in a man's behavior. When he respects the woman he's with, he listens when she speaks, not just to reply, but to understand. He considers her feelings before making decisions. He becomes mindful of his tone, his habits, his presence, not out of fear, but out of care, because he understands that her emotional well-being is just as important as his. And that kind of awareness doesn't come from just loving someone. It comes from valuing them as an equal human being, someone whose peace, trust, and energy matter just as much as his own. A man can love more than one woman in his life, but he will only change for the one he truly respects. That's the woman who makes him want to become better, not because she asks, but because he doesn't want to lose her. He knows that if he doesn't level up, he'll eventually lose something rare. And when a man sees a woman not just as a partner, but as a person of power, depth, and value, that's when transformation happens. He starts healing his patterns. He starts doing the inner work. He starts making sacrifices, not to impress her, but because he finally understands real love doesn't come with conditions, but it does come with responsibility. Respect changes a man's priorities. It changes how he argues, how he apologizes, how he shows up. Love might get him in the door, but respect keeps him at the table. And if there's no respect, no matter how much love is there, the relationship will always feel one-sided. Because love without respect is a fire that burns too fast. But love with respect, that's the kind of fire that lasts. There's a certain kind of man who walks through life thinking nothing can touch him. He can say what he wants, do what he wants, treat people how he wants, and it won't come back around, especially in relationships. He believes that if she loves him enough, she'll always forgive, always stay, always wait for him to finally act right. And for a while, she does. She cries, she explains, she pleads, she gives him the benefit of the doubt. He takes his coldness, his silence, his mood swings, his neglect. She holds on, hoping he'll finally wake up and see what she's worth. But he doesn't, because he doesn't feel her pain. Some men don't care, not because they're heartless, but because they've never felt the same weight they placed on someone else. They don't understand what it's like to stay up all night wondering where they went wrong. They don't know the feeling of questioning their worth because someone they loved couldn't treat them right. They don't realize how deeply their words cut, how their absence speaks louder than anything they ever see. They only see the surface, her anger, her frustration, her distance. What they don't see is everything she had to swallow just to keep loving them. But life has a way of teaching lessons. One day he meets someone who doesn't tolerate what she tolerated, or he loses her for good and realizes no one else has her soul. Maybe someone he loves walks away from him the same way he once walked away from her. That's when it hits. That's when he starts connecting the dots. Suddenly he understands the pain she tried to explain. He feels the silence he once gave her. He experiences the confusion, the rejection, the sting of being emotionally dismissed. And it changes him, not always for the better, but definitely forever. Pain has a way of humbling even the most stubborn heart. When a man feels the same kind of hurt he dished out, it doesn't just open his eyes, it opens his heart. It shows him the parts of himself he ignored, the way he shut down when she needed reassurance, the way he turned his back instead of leaning in, the way he took her kindness as a guarantee instead of a gift. And for the first time, he starts wishing he could go back, not just to give her back, but to do right by the version of her he broke. But sometimes it's too late. The woman he once took for granted has healed. She's stronger now. She learned how to live without his half love and broken promises. And that's when regret hits hardest, when she's no longer waiting for him to change. Some men don't care until they have no choice, until caring becomes the only thing they can do, alone, in silence, with nothing left but the echo of the love they lost. And that's when they finally understand real love doesn't deserve to be tested, it deserves to be treasured. And once it's gone, no amount of pain can bring it back the same.